Hi, this is Wishop, and this is your reading for Monday, May 18th through Sunday, May 24th. So the big thing I want to talk about is Mercury retrograde, because I'm actually a fan, and I'm a special fan of this one, which I'm going to get to a little bit later, since I'm going to talk at length about it. But let me get into the I Ching for the week, which actually echoes a lot of what I'm going to say. Here is the card from the dice, and it's 25, Innocence. And so you see this beautiful little baby basically blooming from this lotus in the third eye of another character. And it says, innocence, a trusting nature, originality, spontaneity, open-heartedness, simplicity, and the unexpected. And 2 and 5 add up to 7, which is a very spiritual number. And this number 25, which is, if you can see here, this is sky over thunder, or heaven over thunder. So the idea is that these are in their right places. Thunder happens under the sky. So this card can also be, or this hexagram can also be fidelity. And in the definition of, or the description of fidelity, in one of the books I have, it talks about ancient kings flourishing. And here we have 25, the innocence of babies. And so we're really talking about old things being made new. And I think that's exactly what this Mercury retrograde is about. And I want to explain more about that. So let me get to that real quick. In this Mercury retrograde, it is going retrograde in Gemini. Gemini is a highly thought-related, communications-related sign, as I think a lot of you know. And Mercury, of course, has a lot to do with thoughts and communication. So when it's going retrograde there, people think, oh no, everything's going to be worse than ever. It's going to be horrible. But that's not what I actually think is being called for. I think that we live in a Mercury-saturated society or culture in the Western world. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, yes, that's you. You're in a communication-drenched environment where you have access to more information faster than you ever have had before. And there's more of a premium placed on getting things done fast, 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 fast. And having deadlines and, getting it in under the wire and just in time and all that stuff. And Mercury retrograde says, look, most of the year, Mercury is going to support you in doing that. But 3 times a year, fewer than the number of seasons we have, and for 3 weeks at a stretch, Mercury takes a vacation and says, you know what, all this hard charging, directed energy of communication, transportation, get it here, get it there, what he said, what she said, that legalistic nature of the way we conduct communications often, that is going to have to take a break. And when it does take a break, it gives us all an opportunity to re-examine the roles of communication in our lives and the roles of our thoughts around communication and society in our lives. And that's fantastic. It's wonderful, because in societies so drenched in overwhelming mental energy and mental contortions and thinking and planning and huge amounts of communication, as we are, 3 times a year is not often, maybe not even often enough, to go back and revisit what we're doing and see how it suits us. So let's talk about some of the ways that that can happen. In the most obvious way, we're asked, what are our communications like with the world and with ourselves? Are they making us feel great? Right now, Venus is in Pisces. And with Venus in Pisces, Venus is in Cancer. Venus is in Cancer, which is about showing love and appreciation for our nearest and dearest. But Neptune, the higher octave of Venus, is in Pisces, where it's been. And it's about the more universal form of that love. So all of that message towards love and appreciation and value is at odds right now with Mars in Gemini, saying, push through, be directional, put a fire under it. Let's go, go, go. And Mercury retrograde is stepping back in Gemini, right? Mars is trying to push forward and Mercury's going, I don't think I can be behind you on this. I think we should take a look at what we value. So here are some simple examples where that could take place. You could be, I'll give you one simple example, then I'll flip some cards just to break it up a little bit. But one simple example might be you've wanted to work on something with communication for a while. Maybe you're writing a book or something like that, but you find instead every night you're spending 2 hours on social media. And maybe the people on social media are fighting with each other and it's a real combative atmosphere, and you don't end up at the end of your time spent there feeling that good. You actually maybe feel a little worse. This is a time to say, do I value that use of my time, right? This is a time, if you've set up a huge to-do list for yourself full of inflexible deadlines, do they all need to be there? And the other thing I really want to point out before I flip the tarot cards is, see this says spontaneity. Mercury retrograde opens up a way where Neptune in Pisces can give us lots of intuitive wisdom, lots of great stuff. But is there any room for serendipity or miracles to find you when you have scheduled your life, down to the very inch? If you never take the road less traveled, if the traffic jam never causes you to take the detour by the farmhouse, if you never go back to the place where you used to really like the coffee just on a whim and then look and find something interesting on the community message board, all those little messages, those serendipities, those miracles, they can't happen if you don't give them a little breathing room. Mercury retrograde is about that. Mercury, for 3 weeks, is taking off his winged sandals and he is sitting in the sand. And right now he's being served, let's say, a pina colada. And he looks at the glass in his hand and goes, I think I ordered a daiquiri. Mercury has the choice to get upset, put back on his sandals, walk over to the tiki bar, complain to the bartender about how this isn't the right drink, or he can take a long, cool sip of what's in front of him, feel that warm breeze, look at that blue sea, and think, hey, I haven't had one of these in a while. This is pretty damn good. That's Mercury retrograde. Take the time to appreciate, to love, to show compassion for other people who are having trouble, because you're going to make screw-ups too. And the more compassionate we are to each other, the more we really get the lesson that all of these arbitrary deadlines that we set up for ourselves, they're not what's most important. They're probably not what values most to us. You're not going to be on your deathbed thinking, thank goodness I got the dry cleaning picked up. So why stress about it today if it's not going to matter in the future? So let's turn over the random tarot cards and see what we get. Okay. Ace of Swords in reverse. This is the Shadowscapes deck, by the way. 9 of Cups in reverse. King of Pentacles upright. Okay. So I think, first of all, if we look at the Ace of Swords a lot of times is new enterprises, new thoughts. Let's look at it this way. See all this good transformational energy here? But it's in reverse, which means you don't need to try to think new thoughts, and you certainly don't need thoughts that have to cut their way through opposition. that's not going to be the way to get anywhere, to try and slice your way through the crowd. So for now, don't worry about that. Now, I'm one who believes you can start new things during Mercury retrograde, but I believe that they should be things which you've thought about in the past. So maybe you always wanted to take a foreign language, but you never did. And now you'd like to start. I think that's a great thing to do during Mercury retrograde. You're revisiting a form of communication from your past, and you're picking it up again because you realize how much you value it. I think that would be great to do during this time. The Nine of Cups, right, which we typically think of as the wish card, right? So here are all these fish, which a lot of times symbol abundance. Let me see if I can get the glare off this. And here's this guy, but I think this is saying you don't need to be wishing, and that if you're wishing, that might be a little too directed, right? We think about these new moon intentions, which you may have set, and that's great. If you haven't, you still can. But you might be wishing very specifically for something. This is a time to leave it a little more open-ended. Let the universe serve up something spectacular. The King of Pentacles, if you can see what an abundant figure this is, right? The tree is blooming, there's the dragon, there's this huge pentacle. There is plenty of abundance to satisfy every wish you have, but you need to relax a little bit. Probably in this case, you are not the King of Pentacles, but this wise sort of dragonic kind of figure can help bring you the things you really want if you're not too specific and inflexible about the details. So let me go, because I'm running out of time here. I hope I haven't beaten this Mercury retrograde to death, but I'm saying just revisit your interactions and your communication with the world. So if you're finding that you've been good to your nearest and dearest lately, but that during Mercury retrograde, you're kind of a jerk at the store, you're kind of a jerk out in the world at the gas station and with other people, really think about, are the things you're accomplishing worth that? Or could you really make someone's life nicer by really trying to spread that love and appreciation where you go instead of meeting your deadlines? So this is a little Buddha oracle card. It's very tiny because I'm trying to change things up. Okay. Oh, transformation. Okay, so this is transformation, but do you see this big heart? I'm naming this video The Heart of the Matter because Mercury is about communication and thoughts. That's not where the heart of the transformation is. This transformation is from the heart out. So I hope that makes sense. This is from your values, your loves, your appreciation, your compassion, and then you let the transformation happen. You don't dictate the shape of it. You don't try. Mercury retrograde's not about that. It's let it happen. And if the universe serves you a delicious pina colada, then try drinking it and see if you can enjoy it. I'm going to do one other oracle card quickly, and it's a very different one again because I'm trying to be, open-minded and flexible and innovative. So this happens to be from a set of postcards I bought of 50, it's actually 100, but 2 sets of 50 magician's postcards from old magic posters. And you can use them as oracles by not worrying about what is common in all of them, but by looking for what's different. Oh, look at this. So, who guards? Fascinating illusion. I hope you can see this. And at the bottom it says, the birth of the sea nymph. And if you look at this, this really is Venus, isn't it? This is Venus. She's in the shell. There's that happy moon. Do you see how happy this moon is? And you see these beautiful fish sort of carrying her along. This is saying during this Mercury retrograde, don't worry so much about Mars. Think about Venus and let the love and appreciation just carry you along on these tides. She doesn't have a map or a GPS right now. She's just going with it. And you can go with it too. And I hope that you will enjoy this Mercury retrograde. I plan to.